Yeah, boy, Zane the Villiers here from the Bronx, and I'm gonna give you my version of the EnduroWorld time trials at Wolwekloof. Yeah, let's get straight into it. Got a record knock here out in front from Mud and Dust Media, leaving some dust behind, working my way through these rocks, just settling in. Notice I didn't put my watch on, so that just sort of helps me keep track of time and keep pushing. Getting straight into it. They've got a nice flat track section here just to warm you up. The sand is super loose here, like a Hatfield girl on a Friday night. Slipped out on my first lap, so try to avoid that. Yeah, nice and sandy. Luckily I had a bit of wind, keep the dust down. In this section, very powdery. Looking back, I should be flying through these much faster, but yeah, it was my third lap, so try not to waste too much energy, but also using these sections to bring down the seconds wherever I can. You can see a little tail slide there. I would definitely like to see some whoops or maybe a little rhythm section here. Wolwekloof, if you're listening, hook us up. So just sort of trailing behind Rickett here, trying to keep it smooth, easy breezy, save the energy. So what I like to do to just get the energy levels up is just every now and then just lay down a little bit, have a little rest, pick up the energy levels. So I like to do this 2, 3, maybe even 4 times per lap. If you don't know what I mean, here's a perfect example here in the front. So all you do is you just lay down a little bit, relax, stretch those legs out, and then get up. So I forwarded through this part a little bit, trash talking Rickett after his mechanical and mental breakdown. After wasting some time here, still managed to keep the lap time down to about 39 minutes. Apparently we did miss a section somewhere, so I'm not quite sure how that adds on to the extra time, but all fun and games. After feeling like I dislocated both my shoulders, trying to get back into it here. Another short little stretch, little faster section before you get into your first obstacle of some sort. So first off, this little weird ditch, just to break your confidence if you're not feeling comfortable yet. Then we start going down into this little river bed with a little bit of mud, but it's just enough to fill the tires up and let you spin around. So this is probably my best version of this little climb. On one or two of the other ones, you definitely can spend some time spinning around there, and I'm sure that's claimed a couple of oaks. And yeah, nice scenery out this side, trying to get comfortable. Notice I haven't taken off my goggles and it's not in front of me, so I just took a second to take those off. And then right into the first sort of technical ascent. Down this section, I do recall this looping the other way around. So being quite familiar with Volvo's loop, I found it quite tricky not getting confused with the directions and where you're supposed to be going. So yeah, coming into this next section is sort of the first nice technical drops. Keep your feet up and elbows up, and then you move through those quite quickly. I got lost on this section almost every single lap, but luckily this lap specifically I managed to catch the right line off the bat. This is a very iconic section in the old loop coming down this. A little bit of mud up here. Ooh, and I had the crowds out here today to motivate me up this hill. luckily I had all balls and no skill, managed to smash it up here like I've done it before. Flat rock face here, you can catch a nice bit of speed, build up momentum. Not a lot of markers, so just sort of pointing in the general direction, hoping to see something soon. Luckily my attention caught the helmet of Kyle Bollard, managed to get himself stuck in a ditch, also riding for the Bronks. Caught a left around him, quite a steep little drop here, nothing too serious. Once I passed him, I knew I wouldn't be too far behind Bruce, so pressure was on to catch him. At this point, only being a couple minutes in, it's important to breathe and try and save as much energy as possible. Keep standing, stay loose on the bike. If that starts failing, then just open that throttle and hopefully the bike will do the rest. Coming into this next section, it's obviously with a felt fire helps a little bit, see where you're going, but this whole area is just filled with lurkers, not the kind that sort of hides behind the curtains, but more the type that stares at you through the window and waiting for you to mess up. Finally, as I start catching sight of Bruce, pushing the pace a little bit, and I know he's just up this hill, a lot of loose stuff up here, and here we go, catching Bruce for Mud and Dust Media. This next piece, I know I'm supposed to turn left there every single time I pass it, end up going into this section, having to do a little pivot, wasting tons of energy, and then having to muscle my way out of this again. I mostly just rely on a point and squirt technique, so I mean, aim in the direction, slam that throttle down, and hold on. Normally you make it through most things. All of a sudden this rock says, hey, where are you going? You're going nowhere. When passing riders, it's important to do it as aggressive and as fast as possible, even though you know the guy might take you in a few minutes. But you make sure you do it as fast as possible, just to endorse that friendly sportsmanship of an enduro dirt bike rider. You can see my nervous neck twitched here, there, just to check if the guy isn't about to pass me. This next part isn't really very flowy, so you'll just have to make your way around the obstacles, and hopefully by a third or fourth lap a little bit smoother coming through here. I could hear the four strokes trying to make their way up this hill, so I thought I might be here for a while. So I decided to maybe look for a line off towards the left. That was my ticket. Started to go up the left, got caught up on this rock. Overall, not too bad of a line. How's it? This used to be one of my favorite sections coming up here when the loop was in reverse. A lot of fun. Luckily I don't struggle from pump arm that much anymore, so sort of believe it's a state of mind. But at this point my forearms and hands do feel like I'm a teenager working through puberty. Wolwekloof just has such beautiful terrain to ride on, and every single time you think it's letting up a little bit and you can breathe, then back into the next section. No real intense technical sections, but just a whole lot of fun overall. Definitely enjoy riding out there. Nice flat rock faces where you can do some nice little wheelies. I like to focus a lot on throttle control, and the best way to explain it is you want to try and start with that brr, brr, brr sort of stuff and more into that stuff. That's where you want to be. Starts picking up a little bit, yeah. I'm always a little bit of a tree hugger, as you can see, and whenever there's a tree for me to hit, I always somehow end up doing that. Again, as you go through the loops, you start getting tired, end up sitting down a lot, and that's basically all that's going through my mind right now is keep standing, keep loose, keep dropping that throttle wherever I can. There's a great piece going down. Pick your line carefully, keep the momentum up, make it through there quite quickly. This next piece I was like, oh, this is open, man. I'm dropping the throttle right here. Into the next climb, also flat face rock, so best thing to do here is just keep that throttle open, stay on the back. Next thing I get stuck behind this guy for like 45 minutes, you know, even though I managed to keep my lap time under 38 minutes. But yeah, this guy manages to get up there quite quickly, so it doesn't hold me back too much. Again, make sure I pass this guy, acting real cocky. Little smidge on the handlebar like I explained earlier. It's all in good sportsmanship. Hashtag sorry bro. Now the pressure's on. If this guy catches me, I look like a tool. Well, it's debatable either way. Ooh, a nice little pivot wheelie from that chap. At this point I'm quite far away from the flat flowy section, but that's all I'm hoping for. Probably can't catch this on this beautiful GoPro 7, but that must have been a full scrub right there. This next step down is just an absolute nightmare. Go on the right hand side, great. Left hand side, absolutely terrible. And I went left 3 times and took a nice bail until the last time I actually went right, and it went beautifully. So, you know, I won't say that I'm the fastest learner. Right now, I just keep playing back in my head something I read in a Bear Grylls book. If you stop, you die. If you stop, you die. And just keep pushing. Really need to get a GPS so I can stop getting lost permanently. Feels like I'm playing Where's Wally, and Wally is a little red tag stashed away somewhere in the rocks. This is quite a fun riverbed section. Goes up and over, comes back into the riverbed, also not very clearly marked. I think we could have probably done more with this riverbed section coming up here. Get it nice and fast, but also technical. Obviously trying to find the line here once again. It's a nice little ½ meter drop straight into the riverbed. All nice and scenic compared to all the rockier areas that we have been going through. This part was a lot of fun, sort of off camber, then you head up into the little jump. Oh, that was obviously a full whip. I need to learn how to look back so you can see the tire. Way too excited getting down this piece, and I completely missed a turn. All that speed ended up wasting time by missing the exit. Sand is always good flat out. But this next piece, you're still in the thick sand and you already have to tap off for the rocks in front, so it caught up a few riders. I managed to get lost here a couple of times. Lines aren't very clear. Every every time I head up here, then I seem to lose the line completely, and I'm not quite sure which way to go from there. Also very important to work on your singing skills in case this career doesn't pan out.
Where did I go wrong?
Finally, after working on my singing skills, I had to do a little loop to loop, find the line again, pick it up from there,
Turn, yeah. And
see if I can follow the correct line going forward.
up this way.
Now in the back of my mind, I know there's a nice fast section coming up, and then up to a long climb with lots of loose rocks. So got to keep my energy up for that section, make sure I make up the time here. Once you sort of get comfortable on these loops, third or fourth time around, at least you start knowing where to drop the hammer and get going. Another section with loads of lurkers and peeping toms. Now the climb coming up used to be on more of the easier loops at Wolwekloof, and it's not a difficult climb, but if you mess around with it, you'll waste a hell of a lot of energy. Ideally you want to be like third gear standing, but somehow I don't end up being able to deliver on that thought process every single time. Here we go, lots of loose stuff up here. Once you start getting stuck, you don't want to be sitting around spinning trying to get away. Then there's this guy. He must have been Graham Jarvis because he made me look like I was standing still. So yeah, again, not a very difficult hill, but it definitely can take some steam out of you, and it's important to let out some steam every now and then. So I'll let my bike do that for me. So one of the other thought processes behind the stopwatch on the handlebar is that basically you can see how slow you're riding. This gives you a high expectation of what lap time you're supposed to be doing, forcing you to ride way out of your skill level, and then hopefully you become a better rider in all of this. So I'm quite stuffed at this point, struggling to keep a straight line. But I know just about over this hill there's a nice fast piece. Again, just let some steam off, man. And once I get onto this fast piece, I can try and make up some time. And Graham Jarvis is nowhere in sight. He's left me in the dust. Finally some bit more flowy stuff. Get some air in the lungs. Last little steep climb before we can blow some serious heat. Energy levels are running low. Really have to focus on dropping the hammer as soon as I leave an obstacle, just to get an extra couple of seconds out of it. Ooh, got bounced off to the sidewalk there. Go farming. Here we go, the little section I've been looking forward to the whole loop. Just to get a bit of flow down. At this point you're pretty much just trying to focus on not crashing. This is obviously the faster section. Yeah, you think, oh, let me whack this thing flat out. And at the same time, you're wondering how long it's going to take for someone to find your body if you came pipe out here. This section is a lot of fun compared to what you've been put through in the rest of the lap. So something to look forward to indeed. There's a sneaky little right turn coming up, and I missed this on all the other laps. Ooh, careful of the riders coming from the front. They've got some loops running the other way around, so I hope those guys are looking out, because I definitely am not paying any attention to that. There's a sneaky corner that I keep on missing. I think it's more just focused than anything else. Gotta make sure on the downhills that keep your feet on, keep the gears nice and high, and keep the speed up. So the bike just sort of does the work coming down here. This place is quite deceiving because if you're familiar with the area, you know where you're supposed to start and finish, and you often start thinking, oh, 2 more corners and we'll be in this section. Next thing you know, the whole section you forgot about. Kills the spirit a little bit. Caught up with a couple of other riders. Again, just pick your line and let the bike do the work. So for a moment, yeah, felt like I had some friends, and at this point my race fever just kicks in, and I want to beat all my fake friends that I just met on the loop. So I'll go back to my previous comment. Make sure you pass the rider as fast as possible, even though if it costs you turning right instead of left, going all the way in the wrong direction, figuring it out, and having to stop and turn around. Luckily, I can just fall in behind him and do it again. Make sure you take some time on the loop to make some friends and talk to other riders. It helps when you confuse them with other riders. This way they're confused, and it basically works as a psyching out technique, even though they don't know who you are and that you are actually racing. So this is where you start tasting sweet victory, coming down this hill. I know I've got a forest section coming up, and then 1 or 2 more little climbs before we finish the loop. The wood section here is always quite a lot of fun. Trying to to make sure you stay nice and flowy. Couple of dangerously cut trees there, but nonetheless. Up ahead we're going to run into some water and muddy sections. I like to approach water and mud like you would with a ladyboy. Approach carefully and don't stick around to find out what's down there. So aim for the beeline and open the throttle, smash it through there. So at this point you know that there's some crowds looking from the opposite end, or you think there is. So become a bit more ballsy. Ended up missing this line completely. Wasting a lot of time and energy on this last section. And obviously over popping that pivot, holding up another guy that I just passed. So go back to my earlier comment. So at this point, just trying to pick up where I left off, trying to make up for the wasted time. You can see the parking lots on the opposite end, so if you really open it up nicely here, sounds like you actually know what you're doing. Last turn, another little piece of flat section, and then you know you're pretty much in the last couple of yards to finish up. So important to keep pushing here, make up those last seconds where you can. Last little downhill, 2 little steps through the riverbed section. Now Wolver does have a section down here, it's got lots of mud. Luckily they cut some of that out, so you've got a rocky river section going uphill here. Pretty much to the end of your ride, so last little bit. If you stop, you die. Just keep going. Last stretch into the finish. This is where you want to be popping wheelies and doing anything that your body shouldn't be doing after a full lap, just to show off. Past a little jungle gym, bringing you back to your childhood. Straight up into a parking lot. Ooh, a Land Cruiser. And yeah, guys, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Let us know if these tips were helpful at all. Keep a lookout for our highlight reel. It's going to be action packed. Thanks for watching. Bronks out.
Yeah,